I just want to do a little mini lesson on how to take your theme statement and turn it into a thesis. Now, remember that your thesis is like the backbone of your essay. That is your claim. It answers the prompt, and that's what we're going to run through here. So, the best place to start is from the essay prompt. So, the prompt for the Other Wes Moore final essay, using your topic, what was the author trying to teach to the reader through the lives of the Wes Moores? Which character trait, or lack thereof, most led to their success, or maybe their failure? Use examples from the text, your topic graphic organizer, to support your thesis. So we are going to be looking at step 1 here. Look at the bottom of your topic graphic organizer to create a full sentence theme. The author's message to the reader about your topic is blank. Here is an example of a student topic graphic organizer with the topic of courage. So remember, as you're reading through the memoir, you were tasked with gathering textual evidence that you found meaningful, interesting, and relevant to your topic, in this case, courage. And while reading, you were supposed to fill out the chart below with one quotation per chapter, noting the page number, and at the end of the chapter, you were supposed to include context, so what's going on in the story, who said it to whom, etc., and then your thoughts, like how that quote in particular demonstrated your topic and how it was important to the text as a whole. So I have 2 examples here for courage. The first one is found on page 121, and it's from the Author Wes section. So, but I'd been around enough street cats to know the code. They hit you with a knife, you find a gun. But I had to let this one go. I had to look at the bigger picture. So this quote comes from the part of the story whenever Author Wes is hit with a hard object in the face, and it's called the N-word. But rather than trying to fight his attacker, he steps back, thinks about the consequences of those actions, considers the bigger picture, and then runs back towards the military school. So in this situation, the author Wes demonstrated the true meaning of courage, which is doing the right thing in the face of fear. And it's interesting that it shows courage by running away, because normally we think that that is a pretty cowardly thing to do. However, it was the right thing not to fight back, and it takes more courage to not fight rather than to respond emotionally and fight back without thinking of the consequences. My second piece of evidence that I chose here is from the Other Wes section, and I chose this piece of evidence because it shows Other Wes lacking courage in kind of a similar situation. So this is an example of the misunderstanding of courage, and the textual quote is found on page 34 and 35. It says, "Put down the knife." Wes didn't hear him. Wes continued to move toward the boy. His grip on the knife handle tightened. His forearms flexed. Send a message. So this comes from that very early on in the story, whenever the author or the Other Wes is at a football game, and some kid gets blood on his favorite jersey, and so he decides to pull a knife on the kid. The police come, but rather than putting down the knife and doing the right thing, he continues trying to fight until he's taken in the back of a police car at like age 8 or something like that. So my explanation was that Other Wes misunderstands the meaning of courage. Anybody can pull a knife on somebody and lose control of their emotions, but it takes true courage to walk the other way. So whenever you're looking at your topic graphic organizer, you should have, 8 different pieces of textual evidence to choose from. So it's important to choose the best 2. And you can kind of think about, if I'm writing an essay and I know I'm going to have 2 body paragraph, it makes sense for me to choose either, like one piece of textual example from Author Wes, maybe one from Other Wes, or you could do both from Other Wes or both from Author Wes. Just let your evidence kind of guide you here as you're starting to think about your theme statement. So after I've chosen my 2 pieces of evidence that I'm going to work with, I'm going to come down here in the next step, where after tracing the presence of your topic throughout the memoir, you're going to draw a conclusion about the author's message to the reader based on your gathered textual evidence. So you're going to use these findings to identify a theme, which, if you remember, theme is the message in a story. So it's what the author is trying to teach us. So we're going to complete the following statement here. So based on my textual evidence, the author's message to the reader about courage is blank. So, courage is one of those things that it's one of our character words. It's something that we're taught from a very early age. But I don't want to just finish a sentence with a generic, courage is important. That's super lame. Uh, I'm going to look back at my text and think about what is there and what is an interesting conclusion I can draw from these two pieces of textual evidence. So I'm going to think about what they have in common and then maybe what they uh, have as differences. So here I can see that, in both situations, what these two pieces of textual evidence have in common, they were both in a time of a fight. Like there was this physical altercation with Arthur West. He was hit with like a bottle or a rock, the face called the N word. He was being disrespected. And in the second one, Other West felt disrespected in the football game. But so that part of this the situations are similar or is similar. But what's different is how they reacted, how they responded. So Other West didn't think anything about the consequences of his actions. He just grabbed a knife, acted irrationally and impulsively. Whereas Arthur West stopped for a moment and considered the consequences. So I can see that, maybe there's a connection here between courage and consequences. Or I can also just see that maybe sometimes true courage means running away or walking away rather than standing up to fight. So maybe we need to flip our understanding of courage on its head because whenever I think of when I think of courage, I think of someone standing up in battle. But maybe here, true courage can be shown by running away. So that's kind of an interesting message that I think the author's trying to teach us here. So I'm going to go in to complete this sentence. And you can go back and edit this several different times. Remember, this is a work in progress here. So based on my textual evidence, the author's message to the reader about courage is, maybe I can say that is true courage means considering the consequences to one's actions. That could work. Another way for me to complete the sentence might be, courage does not mean fighting. Or maybe I could say something like, sometimes true courage means running away. That's pretty interesting, I think, for a theme statement. And then if you remember, after you've watched the sort of topic to theme review video, in order to get my theme statement, I just mark out all of this good stuff right here. And I'm left with a theme. So you want to get rid of all that kind of sentence tree that we've put in here. And I'm left with a theme now. Hold on. If I can remember how to strike through. Yeah, there it is. Alt-Shift 5. Okay. So courage does not mean fighting, or maybe sometimes true courage means running away. I think that second one's a little more interesting. So I'm going to use this as my theme statement. So sometimes true courage means running away. And then in order to take this, so this is my new theme, which is exciting. Congratulations. And I'm going to put that through the thesis test. So we're not done yet. In order to get our thesis for our essay, we need to take this thesis statement and turn it into we're going to take this theme statement and turn it into a thesis. And the way we do that is we run it through the ABCDs E's of thesis. And that's down here. Here, I'm going to copy this. All right. So the ABCs of thesis writing. It needs to answer the prompt, which if you remember back, it's, through the lives of the Wes Moores, what is the author trying to teach us? It needs to be bold. So remember, we don't want this to be able to be found on a kitty poster or in a fortune cookie. We want this to be interesting and bold, and you're really saying something. The characters or authors' names need to be mentioned, and it needs to be debatable. So two people need to be able to argue it, because if I just said courage is important, no one's going to argue that courage isn't important. But if I said, without courage, one is destined to fail or doomed to fail, then someone might be like, that seems a little harsh. We could debate that. And then E, evidence back. So I need to make sure that whatever my thesis is, I can back up with evidence, because otherwise your essay is going to make no sense and people aren't going to be persuaded or take you seriously as a literary analyst or someone with a strong opinion who is educated and knows what they're talking about. Okay. So remember, what I'm teaching you here through this argumentative writing is to be convincing, and we need to make sure that our thesis is convincing and strong and can uphold being debated or challenged on evidence. All right, so remember, my theme statement have right here is sometimes true courage means running away. Now, if I check back through my essay prompt one more time, I can see that the prompt, using your topic, what was the author trying to teach the reader through the lives of the Wes Moores? Which character trait or lack thereof most led to their success? So I know I need to mention, like, remember the best way to answer a question is to repeat parts of the prompt. So I know that I need to mention something about leading to their success, their failure. Maybe I could even repeat that through the lives of the Wes Moores. And since I am talking about both Wes Moores, I need to include that in my thesis as well. So I need to make sure it answers the prompt. So through the lives of the Wes Moores, sometimes true courage means running away. Okay, that still doesn't seem totally complete. Oh yeah, the prompt also mentioned what the author was trying to teach us. So I might say Moore teaches the reader that sometimes true courage means running away. All right, so answers the prompt. Check. We got that one marked off. Next, is this a bold claim? So in order to make it bold, I need to get rid of any sort of wishy-washy language. So let's see. Through the lives of the Wes Moore, Moore teaches the reader that sometimes true courage means running away. All right, I feel like that sometimes is kind of throwing us off here. And is not very bold at all, because it's like, oh, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So let's get rid of sometimes. And I also think that we can strengthen teaches. So what if we said like proves? That packs a little more punch than just teaching. So through the lives of the Wes Moores, Moore proves, I don't even think I need the reader anymore, proves that true courage means running away. Ooh, that's pretty good. And I might even add proves that a demonstration, because it just seems kind of awkwardly worded, of true courage means running away. Okay. Does it mention the character's and author's name? Absolutely. So I've got Wes Moore and Moore here. Or I could just say the lives of the Wes Moores prove. I could even simplify it if I needed to. Is this debatable? Absolutely. Most people, in fact, I think would debate the opposite and say, no, that means you're a coward if you're running away. You need to stand and fight. So check, debatable. And is it evidence-backed? Absolutely, because I can look back up here at my topic chart and see that in this example, Other Wes considered his consequences and ran away from the fight, which led on to his success. And the Other Wes chose to fight, and that eventually led on to his imprisonment and started the cycle of behavior. So right here, I have a strong thesis. Through the lives of the Wes Moore, Moore proves that a demonstration of true courage means running away. And this is actually kind of serves as a pretty good sentence, like thesis sentence scaffold, as you're coming up with your own. So if you're struggling on how, and also I attached an example of another intro paragraph onto the essay prompt on Google Classroom, so you can check there for another example. But right here, you just delete this. You could have your topic. And then, so that way it works for you. It means blank. So then you kind of put your theme statement down here. So again, you're welcome to use this if you'd like. Do not use my thesis verbatim, which means word for word. And also, I want you to choose your own piece of evidence, and I'll know if you used mine. So do your own work. I am so proud of you guys. This is not easy, and I feel like this is the toughest part. So once you have a really strong thesis statement, then you'll be rocking and rolling with your essay. So good luck, guys. Remember, we are taking our theme statement, which we got from this step. So our theme is sometimes true courage means running away. And we're taking our theme all the way down here to our thesis because it goes through the ABCs of thesis writing. All right. Good luck, guys. Bye.